morning, everybody. Hello, good morning, welcome. Oh, it's so hot in here. There's no AC, and I have a baby little fan, but trying to air it out. So I will be, it's like hot yoga in here today, so just so you know, hi, good to see everybody. Feels like it's been longer than 2 weeks. I don't know why, but it feels like it's been ages. Good morning. How are you all doing? Is everyone enjoying this heat wave? Holy cats. No, I'm not in New York City. I'm in Dundas, Ontario, which is not too far from Toronto. So that's where we're coming from, the little town of Dundas. So welcome everyone. Welcome to Tea and Tarot in the vintage trailer in the Scotty. And the Scotty is quite old and doesn't have air conditioning, but it's got great ventilating windows, which is normally wonderful if there's a breeze, but today it's kind of like I'm in just a hot can. And I don't have electricity hooked up here right now, so I can't, otherwise I'd have a powerful fan, but got my little battery operated one, so we'll just see how we do. And I've got my tea to go. So welcome. We're gonna jump in. As always, if there's any decks that you're especially fond of, just in the messages, feel free to request one. What do I have today? I've got Saints and Angels, Path of the Soul, Life Purpose Oracle cards, Fairies, Magdalene Oracle, Daily Guidance from your Angels, Wisdom from the Hidden Realms, Romance Angels, Universal Love Rumi, and Angel Tarot, and the Book of Angel cards. So lots of cards on deck today. Oh, thanks, Liz. That's so nice. You're very welcome. Yes, definitely. I don't mind the heat after all the cold and rain we had. Definitely, it's nice change. But hopefully you all have a sprinkler to run through, or a pool to get in, or some way to keep cool. Anyway, until the hot yoga studio is open, it's hot yoga outside every day. So let's jump in. I'm feeling really drawn to the fairy deck. For some reason, that one's sort of lighting up for me to start off the day. So let's go with this. I have no idea what we are in for today. Usually I get a little bit of a feeling or a vibe about, you know, the tone or what's happening. No idea. So jumping in. Okay, so this is the Fairy Oracle deck, and this one wants our attention. And it's called Kick Up Your Heels, and it's a card of celebration. You can see there's a, looks like everything great. You know, rainbow, unicorn, happy party. There's a waterfall in the background, a lot of water. So I would say it's a happy card. Kick up your heels and celebrate. Maybe that's because we're through the worst of it. I know there's a lot of, not stress, but I guess people kind of want to sort of be excited that we're coming out of quarantine, but a lot of people too are worried that we're going to be re-quarantined again, because there have been other places throughout the world where they've been free and then they're back in their houses again. I'm not feeling that. At least not right now. I think we're good as long as we just keep going slow and steady. So I think this is about enjoying summer, getting outside, recharging your batteries, celebrating the little things, spending that time with your friends and family as you can, and doing things that you love, that feed your soul, that fill your heart. Because let's face it, sometimes we have to do a lot of things that we don't enjoy doing, and now is the time to really just soak up summer as much as you can and take advantage of it, especially if you're not working a regular schedule like you normally would. It's like we're kids again and we get that summer off school, so really enjoy it. Even if you can't get away, there's lots of beautiful local areas. I'm discovering so many beautiful hidden gems in the little town where I am, and I know all of you, if you kind of look a little deeper in the areas that you live, you'll probably find some really amazing magical places. So maybe pretend you're a tourist in your own town and just do some searching and find some nature trails, find some little hidden walks you can go on, find some water that you can get to, and just really soak up this time and use it to refresh, regenerate yourself, recharge your batteries, and celebrate that we've made it this far. Some of us didn't think we would, but we're still here. We're a little crazier, but not too crazy. Okay? So I like the way this day is starting off. Let's hope we go with this happy theme, because it's been a bit bonky. I don't know if anyone else has felt that Mercury retrograde affecting their relationships or communications. I kind of have a healthy respect for the planets, but at the same time I like to think it doesn't apply to me because I'm a big believer and I create my own reality. But I have to tell you, Mercury retrograde, it gets me every time. All right, so let's go with universal love, since we're in that happy energy. This is a Universal Love Healing Oracle card deck. I bought this deck after I went on a trip to Glastonbury and I was on a hike and I got lost in the woods, which is great. It happens to me a lot. And I actually found a tree with a heart on it, just like this. So when I saw this deck, I thought, I need to get this deck. Yes, there are 6 planets in retrograde right now. I know it's a wild time. Just hold on to your hats. All right. I'm not an astrologer, but I have a couple of friends that are into astrology, so sometimes I check in with them, but sometimes I find it's just better not to know what's going on. There's enough going on down here without them thinking about everything going on up there. Okay, interesting card. This card is called Listening. You can see she's laying there, kind of soaking up that energy of the stars and listening. And listening is about listening to everything, not just other people, not just spirit, but also to yourself. Because sometimes in our lives, in the busyness, we don't actually tune into ourselves and listen to ourselves enough. We might think that we know what we want and we know what we're going for and where we're going and an idea of our direction. But very rarely do we actually tune in and listen to the deep calling of our soul. To do that takes practice, and it takes meditation, and it takes being in a quiet space, first of all, which is almost impossible for a lot of us. So listening is also important, to listen to other people especially. Absolutely, we all need more of that in our life, because when somebody is actively listening to you, you really feel heard, you really feel loved when someone is giving you their undivided attention. And in today's times, with so many distractions, cell phones, all kinds of things, it's very difficult for people to actually be present and listen the way we used to, because we're so used to being distracted by multiple things. Our brains almost work differently now. So this card is coming up to encourage you to take a more active role in finding a way to listen more deeply to other people, but most of all yourself. Because when you do that, when you take that time, and you can just lay down on the, lay down outside like this lady is here, lay down on the grass, whether it's at night or in the day, find a shady spot under a tree, and just breathe and just set the intention that you're listening to your body, that you're listening to your soul, and you'll be really surprised what comes forward. When I'm doing Reiki sessions with people, I'm tuning into their body, and what I'm actually doing a lot of is listening to their body, and their body is talking to me and telling me what's going on. And almost most of the session is me listening. And oftentimes bodies are so happy to have somebody there listening to them, because our own body, we don't always have the time or the energy or even the awareness to listen to ourselves. So I encourage you to try that if you haven't, because you'll be really pleasantly surprised at some of the information that comes up for you, or some of the feelings or some of the memories. It can be a really beautiful thing, and it can also be a wonderful way to find out what's going on with your physical body. So if there's something that's unwell in your body, whether it's a tiny little thing or something larger, by tuning in and listening to yourself and just allowing that connection, you'll get some information, sometimes very specific and interesting information about what's going on in your body that you can then take to your naturopath, your doctor, research online, and see if there's any validity to it. But 9 times out of 10, I find when I tune into myself, my body is very clear about what's going on and what it needs from me. And so it's really interesting once you start listening, the things that come up, and also being in nature and just listening to nature, listening to the trees, listening to the flowers, the animals. When you go into your environment with that kind of an energy and openness, magical things always happen. So I encourage all of you guys to get outside if you can. If you can't, then you can just lay inside and listen to one of your plants or tune into your body or maybe a favorite crystal. But try to spend some time in the next week setting the intention to listen in a deeper way. First to yourself, and then when you cultivate that, then try expanding that out to others and see what happens there. Okay? It can be a beautiful healing thing for relationships. If you've been struggling with relationships and communication, the next exchange you have with that person, to consciously take the position of being the active listener and just listen without talking, without offering too much, just hold space. And that can be really healing, and that can solve a lot of problems just doing that, because most of the time we want to kind of jump in, or what that person says makes us think of something we want to say. So listening is a very, it requires patience, it requires focus, and it's kind of becoming a lost art. So it is good to cultivate that. All right, so moving on. Okie doke. All the decks are just kind of lighting up for me today. Let's go with daily guidance. This was my very first deck. It's a little beaten up. It's called Daily Guidance from Your Angels. We'll go to this one and see what we've got going on here. Okay. Time to go. That's funny, because as I was shuffling the deck just there, I got the feeling that it's almost like there's some things we're hanging on to we need to release. And I feel that they're things of comfort. And because I think that when we went through and are still kind of going through the whole world situation, whenever we're thrown into the unknown like that, it gets us in our fear place, let's face it, and we gravitate towards comfort because that's what makes us feel better. So just like when you're a little kid and you're scared and you're in your cozy fuzzy blanket, or you're feeling unwell and your mom makes a really nice soup, or whatever it is that makes you feel comfortable, as adults, you know, we have comforts too, and so we've gravitated to those things. And this card is coming up because it's saying it's time to let go of some of those things that we've been hanging on to out of comfort, but ultimately we know they're complete, or we know that it's time to let them go. So there might be a few things that, you know, it's like, oh, I'll let go of this and I'll let go of that, but not that thing, I'm not ready yet. But in the act of letting go, it takes courage to do that. It takes a lot of courage to let go, especially when you don't know what's coming. You know, you don't want to give up the one thing and leave that gap, right? Nobody likes that. We like to, well, like I'll trade you this for that, and then you still have a thing. But to have to let something go and then have that space of emptiness, that's probably the hardest thing for people, whether it's a job or relationship or even something like a lot smaller than that. But we struggle with that, with the letting go. Especially when we don't know where we're going to land, or we don't know what's coming next. That's why I think in relationships a lot of people overlap people. Like, that's why there's a lot of cheating and that kind of thing going on, because sometimes people aren't comfortable leaving relationships until they have the next one lined up, or jobs and that kind of thing. We're sort of taught. Guys, I had to come to my car. My iPhone totally got fried from the heat, and it said emergency, and then it tossed me off there. So I had to come to my car to cool it down. I'm gonna go back to the trailer now. Oh my goodness. It's a wild day. I might actually have to finish outside, so we'll see how it goes. So sorry that you lost me there. So anyways, I was talking about letting stuff go, and then my phone totally freaked out. I'm just gonna hold it. Usually prop it over here. So yes, if that happens again, then what I'll do is I will come back. I'll just, sorry, as I adjust everything here, I will come back. I'll just finish outside because it's quite hot in here for my phone to just blow up like that. Anyways, I'm back. Letting go. Obviously, maybe I need to let go of my phone and get a new one that can handle the heat wave, but it's time to do that. So just try it. Even if you're frightened, there's always something better waiting. There's always something better. Oh yes, Mercury retrograde. Let's blame it on Mercury, my phone thing. It's always good. Oh my goodness. But it's funny, I didn't realize Mercury was in retrograde. Usually I'm on top of that things, and I noticed some, challenges in my relationships lately, and I'm like, oh, Mercury, okay. Explains a lot. I'm okay. I'm hot, but oh no. This is the best tea and tarot in the trailer ever. It's like a wild ride. I've got my phone balanced here so precariously. Oh, everybody, thank you for hanging in during all of the chaos. Okay, we're gonna go with this and hope everything stays together. Oh my goodness. Oh, what should we do now? What deck? Anybody? It's usually a lot calmer, the tea and the tarot in the trailer, I have to tell you. But there's going to be a lot of editing before this hits YouTube. Let's just say that. All right, let's do Path of the Soul. This is like the Divine Guidance deck. It's got the fractal images, and it's always fun. I don't know if the angels are playing with me. They might be, but usually I find that they're generally good. It's more like the fairy realm that likes to kind of move stuff around and get a little crazy with things, I find. So everyone, thank you for hanging in there. This has been crazy. So I've moved the camera, or the phone, I've got it close to my fan, and I hope this helps. I'm gonna just try and blast through the rest in case we get disconnected again. All right, so I was going with the fractal cards, and I'm gonna pick one of these. See, I like the other setup better because now I feel like my head is like so big in the screen here. Okay, let's go with this one. Okay, so this is the card. So a lot of pink, a lot of orange and yellow, a lot of creative energy here, a lot of heart chakra energy. So this is kind of a similar theme to a couple of weeks ago, where we're being asked to create, but not just for the sake of creating. We're being asked to create from our heart space. So before you start putting your time and energy into anything, make sure it's coming from a place of love, from a place of excitement, that you feel like you're in alignment with this. Then put your time and energy on it. Don't just be creating stuff to create it, and don't just be creating stuff because you think it's going to make you money. You're better to create it from the heart, and by doing that, then the abundance will come to you. So I know sometimes we have to work and we have to do other things that we don't always want to do, and we don't have a lot of time sometimes to create. Okay, what a wild day. So it's tea and tarot, it's without the tea, and not in the trailer. Now we're in my car. We are finishing this. Okay, everybody, I'm in my car. We're doing it in my car now. Hopefully we can finish this. I'm not giving up. So thank you for those of you who haven't given up on me. But anyways, let's go back to this. Creating from the heart. So anything you're creating lately, please make sure, take it to your heart first, and make sure it's coming from your heart, because those are always the best, most powerful creations. And that if you do that, I think magical things will happen. I think if you create from that place, the abundance and everything else you're looking for is going to just fall into place, because it is supported by spirit. I'm getting that message very strongly. And sometimes it's good to not give up, because you're going to hit obstacles, but if you really want to do something badly enough, you'll keep trying, just like me, going from the hot trailer to the hot car. Actually, I have a friend of mine the other day, I was trying to figure something out, and they're like, oh, I would have given up by now. And I'm thinking, why? Like, we're just getting started. Like, honestly, there's always a solution. Never give up on anything, especially your hopes and dreams, because that's just too sad. Don't ever do that. Okay, Saints and Angels deck. So I'm going to kind of blast through this extra fast. And just for the record, I was up at another trailer last week, and I came home specifically to do this in the Scotty. So I'm bummed about it, but I'm going to bring all my cards up with me and do the next one from a different trailer that has air conditioning. So we'll have better luck there. Okay. So stress management is the card that came up. So some of you might still be feeling like you're struggling. Or maybe you're going in between struggling and feeling okay and struggling and feeling okay. And it's really important for self-care right now, even though it feels like for some of us, with the quarantine and everything, we might not have been working, we might not have been doing too much, and we're thinking, well, why are we stressed? We shouldn't be stressed. We're doing less than we ever have in our lives. But that's stressful, right? Not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing what the future holds. And even though now we have this sort of reprieve and we feel like things are getting better, that has released some of the stress. But people are still thinking about the future. The future of many businesses has changed, and relationships as well. There's lots of things that are shuffling and changing, and it feels chaotic right now. And that can be stressful. But try to, if you are feeling the stress, take some time and unplug from the things that are stressing you out. I know sometimes social media is great, but being on the Facebook, listening to the news, all that stuff isn't always the best choice. So we're very blessed, at least in North America right now. We're having beautiful, warmer temperatures. So get outside and reconnect to nature, and that will help put you back into balance again. And then you can go back to those things and get the information you need when you're feeling a little bit stronger. But this is about self-care, and it's about managing your stress, because we are actually in control of that. We might not be in control of a lot of things in our lives, but we are in control with what we put into our body, what we put into our mind, and how we go about our day, and what we choose to put our time and energy on, and what we choose to support. What a lot of people don't realize is where you put your time and energy, you're supporting those things. So even if you're watching the news or going on Facebook and finding out all the horrible things and you like to complain about them, you're still supporting those horrible things by spending time and energy on them. So really be aware in the next few days going forward where you put your time and energy, and make sure that a large chunk of your day you're putting it on positive things that are helping to move you forward in your life, not take you back to your past, not put you in a stressful soup, not putting you in conflict with yourself or other people. So really be aware, ask yourself, is this a healthy choice for me? Is this helping me be a stronger, better person so that I can then be better in the world? Because when we're stressed out and drained and depleted, we're not helpful for ourselves or anyone. So self-care is so important. Managing your stress is important. And if you're really struggling and you get to the point where it's too overwhelming and you can't manage it yourself, please reach out to someone who can help you. There are a lot of friends and family and even professionals and holistic practitioners who can help you manage that, because sometimes we do get stuck and we need a hand to pull us out of the it's like a tar pit. I call it the tar pit when people get depressed or really stuck in their stress, because it feels like you're just, or like a bog, like you get sucked in it. So sometimes in those situations you need a bit of help, and that's okay. All right, so last deck, because I'm unfortunately cutting this a bit short because I think we're on limited time here with the heat. We're gonna go with the Rumi deck. And thank you everybody for hanging in, and for those of you who kept reconnecting after I got tossed off. I really appreciate that so much. It's crazy. I'm sorry about all of the technical difficulties today. You just gotta roll with the punches, right? Like, that's like life. Like, you can have a plan, but you need to be flexible in the plan. I was like that when I with the birth of my children. Everyone's like, oh, do you have a birth plan? Do you have this? Do you have that? And I'm like, well, I do and I don't, because, I've got a loose plan. And, my ultimate plan is that they're born healthy, right? And I get through it okay. It doesn't matter what music's playing and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes I think with our plans, we can get really, really kind of, it's got to be this way, even with planning a wedding or party or anything big. And we can be really disappointed if it doesn't go that way. But we have to understand that, you have to have a good plan, but also be loose and be able to navigate and roll with the punches. So, all right, Rumi. This one. Whew. Whirling Goddess. Okay, a lot of beautiful colors in this card. I love this card. And whirling, just like the whirling dervishes, like spinning. For that energy. And I feel like this card is about joy, and I feel like this is about letting things go, like that card earlier when we talked about letting things go. When you let things go, it creates a lot of new energy, new vitality, and opportunity for new wonderful things to come into your life. And sometimes when I feel like I'm stuck, and I don't know if you notice little kids doing this, but they love to spin. Like, they just go outside and they just spin and they spin and they spin until they're dizzy and they fall down. And it's so much fun. Like, I still love going on those spinny rides. Yeah, my phone overheated in the car. But we're on our last card. And I was talking about how little kids, when they spin, and they're just so joyful when they do it. And when we do that, when we spin, it's like we blow everything out of our energy field that we don't need anymore. And you can do that when you're exercising. If you go for a run or just have a hard workout, one of the reasons we feel really good after is with the breath and with the breathing, but also we're sort of just blowing stuff right through, out our body, out our energy field, and clearing ourselves right out. Just like the laundry when it's on the spin cycle. So, I think it's a great idea to twirl in your backyard later today. It's up to you, and it depends on how you feel about your neighbors. My neighbors think I'm a weirdo, so I'm cool twirling back there, but I think it's good to spin. And actually, one of the Tibetan rites or the Tibetan yogas that I learned years ago is a spin, the first one. So there's something to be said for that. But this new energy of swirling and moving around, very creative and very exciting. So I guess let's wrap up the moral of what's happened today, other than the chaos and the Mercury in retrograde. I shouldn't have even given it attention in the beginning of the reading, and now it's just wreaked havoc. But overall, it's time to take care of yourself. It's time to recharge your batteries. It's time to drop that stress, and it's time to let go of whatever it is you're hanging on to out of comfort, because it's time to let it go and move on into that big, bright future that you're ready for. And you can't get there if you're hanging on to little things from the past, because they're going to keep you stuck in the energy of the past. So it's time to lovingly let them go and just trust that you're taken care of. And just trust and just take one step at a time, and you'll get there. And it's always better. Once we're in the new place, we always look back and think, oh God, thank God that happened, because now I'm here. But when we're in the chaos of change, no one ever loves that. So you got to just hang in there and just trust yourself. And how do you do that? You do the listening. That was one of those first cards. Listen to yourself. Just tune in. And even if you don't hear anything, just the act of being willing to listen will start the process. Maybe the answers will come later when you're sleeping in the dream time. Maybe they'll come while you're journaling. Maybe you'll hear a song on the radio, or somebody else will bring you the information. But just setting the intention to listen to yourself will start that process. Sorry this one was shorter, guys, but I think I've got to call it. We'll do it again in a couple weeks from a different trailer with air conditioning. That's more reliable. Maybe I'll even do one next week. You know what? Because this one kind of got cut short. Maybe I'll do it next week and the week after if you want. And you can message me and let me know what you think about that. But thank you for hanging in. I hope you're enjoying well, I hope you have somewhere you can cool down. Let's just say that, if you have a sprinkler or pool or something, because it is a hot one. So stay cool and stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, guys. Keep it up, keep the beat up. I think things are getting better. When people start talking doom and gloom around me, I'm just like, I don't want to hear it. No, it's gonna be fine. So I'm going with that, and it's not denial, it's like my gut feeling. I think it's going to be okay. So let's focus on that. All right, I love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Oh, and I'm still doing the free healing every Tuesday and Thursday night. So if you feel like you need a boost, then just comment on the post on Instagram or message me, and I'll add you to the list. If you're already on the list, you stay on the list unless you ask to be off the list. Okay? All right. Bye.